getting the goals they deserve.
Live on lcfc.com, Facebook and Twitter, you're listening to the Pre-Match Pint, brought to you by Chang Beer.
Here we go, it's cup quarter-final night for Leicester City, and it all starts right here on LCFC Radio. Kick-off at 7:45 at Everton's Goodison Park as Leicester City hope to progress to the League Cup semi-finals, and we've got it all covered for you on LCFC Radio. Full commentary from kick-off, but we start things with the pre-match pint. So welcome, my name's Lewis Mason, and I am joined by some chaps who are going to give us a defensive masterclass this evening, we think. Matt Elliott, Steve Walsh, Richard Stearman. That is a back three. I think so. Evening, gents. How are we?
Good evening.
Good evening,
Lewis.
Yeah, not bad. That would work, actually, wouldn't it?
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Potential.
It's not too bad. I think
perhaps potential. The wrong
one's
word.
probably got the fitness levels required. The other two, I'm not so sure.
I think probably. Current Premier League.
I'll do your running, lads. I'll do your running.
You see, well, I'll be left side, right side. Richard, you in the middle, and Matt, it's three centre halves.
I think we'll put
3-4-3
in the centre of it. How's things going, Richard? Obviously flying with Sheffield United.
Yeah, the boys are doing really well. Won again at the weekend, so they're looking upwards. And you know, I can't really get a game, but they're doing that well. I can't really complain at the moment. So no, it's going well.
You're not cutting your hair until you get a game, Rich, or something?
Yeah, it could be a while. Couldn't it?
Well, it's a funny thing that we've been talking about. Leicester, obviously, finding it hard to change their team because they've been having such a good start to the season. And we're thinking, how are the players who are currently missing out feeling? How are they feeling, Rich?
Cheers.
Leave him alone, Lewis.
I think it all depends on the individual, really. It depends on what type of pro you are, whether you know the manager's got you, in his office, in his plans, letting you know what's going on. Myself personally, like we've spoke about there, I can't really complain. The boys are doing so well. I'll just get on with my job day to day, make sure I'm ready if my chance comes, and yeah, hopefully I can take it.
Big night tonight for Leicester City, Matt. What do you expect?
A very tough game, I think. First and foremost, it'd be interesting to see actually now that it hasn't been confirmed yet, has it? But whether Ancelotti's looming appointment has an effect on, because Duncan Ferguson's officially in charge come what may, isn't he, this evening? Now we spoke about it before. I think if Duncan Ferguson had an inkling or a sniff of getting it full time or even short term, carrying on, that he would have gone 100% with the best team possible to try and get as far as possible and do as well as possible for his time as Everton manager. Now, I mean, whether Ancelotti coming in effectively, official or not, might have an influence, and he might say, hey, right, okay, we've got a big game. I think Saturday they play Arsenal, don't they? Is it Arsenal? Arteta could be coming back to Everton with Arsenal, all the configurations of that one. But, he might be looking at it and go, well, okay, yeah, and to him, being a continental coach, the Carabao Cup might not be massively prevalent to him, and he might think, we need to prepare best for that. So might have a bearing on team selection. That's the point I'm trying to get round to say, which would have a beneficial output for Leicester, wouldn't it? Because I think whatever team Leicester have, I think there will be a few changes, as there have been in previous rounds, but not really to the detriment of the quality of the team, such as the squad that Leicester have got.
Yeah, motivation-wise, for Everton, whatever team goes out there, they're either trying to impress the current boss with Duncan Ferguson for the upcoming games. It might be a new incoming boss as well. Those players have just got all the motivation, Steve.
They have, and you've seen the difference over the last couple of games. They've fought for the manager. They've played in a way you can see what he instills as a ex-player and a legend of Everton. You can see that he's got the team spirit right, and he's getting results from it. So he'll want to win tonight. There's no doubt about that. It's obviously clear he's going to be part of the coaching team as well. So he's like I say, I'm sure. The club didn't expect him probably to do this well, so there must have been a collaboration before that, and he put himself right in the midst of it, really, with the results he's got, because it's a results business, as we know. So there's no doubt that he's going to be well respected. He'll be looked after, Will Dunk, and he's done a good job so far. But what they do tonight, he's going to want to beat Leicester. Yeah, he'll think that we'll be resting a few players as well, probably looking at our situation. What do you do? But Brendan's already said that, in the earlier rounds, I want to do well in the Cups. So I'm expecting still a strong Leicester team, and we've got a terrific, squad that's in depth that, that can go there and beat Everton on a normal day.
Yeah, when you get to a quarter-final of a cup, you just got to go for it, haven't you, Richard?
Of course, yeah. And I've been lucky enough to do the earlier rounds as well. And, Brendan's changed a couple of players here and there, but still the squad is fantastically strong that, like Matty said, it wasn't to the detriment of a performance of the team. And it was, some fantastic play in the last couple of rounds. So I'm fully expecting the same again. Might switch a couple of rounds, but I'm still expecting a strong Leicester City side.
Yeah, strange about the management situation. Why does it happens all the time? Why does the team all of a sudden perk up as soon as there's a managerial change?
Well, I think if Duncan Ferguson was your manager, you'd be wanting to impress him. He's obviously got certain values and
you wouldn't talk
Everton.
Back, would you?
Exactly. Everton's his club. If he tells you to run or do a certain thing, you're doing it. And obviously he's picked up a couple of results in his short tenure, and it's probably resulted in him getting a gig with the new manager.
The thing is, back to your question, a lot of supporters in particular will go, well, why can't Silva do that? Why can't the players react to that manager? But, it's a little bit of sort of human nature comes into it as well. There's so many factors, aren't there? Initially, it's change, isn't it? And people sort of react to it, and some players have got new opportunities, or, some people are a little bit tired of the previous regime. It goes a bit stale, and then people don't have the faith in it. There's all these reasons why. The tactics might be wrong. The way they're applied, man management, 101 reasons, aren't there, really?
They've spent so much money.
Not to say that it will last with Ferguson, necessarily. He has that short-term effect, and then...
Well, so with Solskjaer United, it was a short time really successful, and now obviously they're struggling a bit again, and they're going, it wasn't the right decision at the time.
But then he's bringing it back round to an extent. They've found a direction to go in, haven't they? And, they've taken stock a little bit, and each case is different, isn't it, really? I don't it's not guaranteed by any means, but I don't know how the stats add up. I would imagine it's favourable for a new manager lift or whatever the term is. But I think, I don't know, put it this way, Leicester would rather be playing Everton with Silva still in charge, wouldn't they, than Ferguson pumped up for a quarter-final at home with the situation as it is. And then you've got maybe you've got the concern of a double lift because they've even got Ancelotti waiting to come in, so that's going to get the players on their toes even more.
But have they got what it takes, Everton? I don't see it. I think
if they make changes, it'd be more difficult for them.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say before. Have they got the quality in the squad like Leicester?
Yeah, and it all is crucial coming down to player recruitment and how you do it, how you go about it, and obviously Man United are in a change. Arsenal need a restructure. You can see clearly what they need. So the important part is buying the right players. And Solskjaer at Man United, what's he got? James, Wan-Bissaka. He's identified where they need players, and they've got to spend a hell of a lot more money to get things right. Because but I still believe inside the dressing rooms. In a couple of these clubs, in Arsenal, you could imagine a Man U with Pogba in there. Something's not right, something's wrong, and the dressing room's not there. And once that's gone, you've got problems inside, and it won't just rectify itself.
From a Leicester City point of view, what have you thought of their season so far, Richard?
It's hard not to be very impressed. I've said previously that they're probably the best team we've come up against this season. They've amassed several wins on the spin up until this weekend. They're just relentless going forward, strong at the back. It's hard to, describe them any other way. They've been very impressive. Well,
we're hoping that impressive run. Obviously, everyone's calling it a blip at the weekend. They're still unbeaten.
Disaster,
still unbeaten, which is the mad thing for Leicester City, hoping to remain unbeaten and secure a place in the semi-final of the League Cup. Everton are the opposition tonight, and we've got all of it covered for you on LCFC Radio, and all the fun of the punny old game. It's back. Richard, have you played this before?
I did in the last round. Me and Tags did quite well, I think.
Okay,
He
so
seems a bit confident over there.
yeah, he does a little
Which is a
bit.
good thing. It's a
I'm
team
shocking
game.
at
It was
this
this
part.
part.
it was drink based.
We're
I
not
think we'd have
competing.
all done well.
Oh, Tags would have done all right on that one as well, wouldn't he?
Well,
Yeah,
this
definitely.
one, obviously, we only played Everton a couple of weeks ago, so if you were thinking it was going to be sweets and chocolate and confectionery, wrong, because we did it.
We've done that before.
So,
Toffees,
yeah,
haven't we?
so we had Mark over Mars on that one, that kind of
good,
thing.
yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
Is that the one I nicked off Tags?
Yes,
He was
yeah,
all queued up for that one, wasn't
he was
he?
fuming. This week we're struggling a bit, so we're going.
Just random.
Everton. It's in the middle of the park, isn't it? So we'll go for things found in a park.
With the Stanley Park. You need
Yeah.
to explain this to people.
Things, yeah, all right. Things found in a park. All right, that's what we're going for. That's what
One-
it's up.
one springs
it's
to
nice
mind
and
already.
broad. Go for it. Write it down. In the meantime, let's get a bit of a Christmas tune on from Bruce.
It's all cold down along the beach. And the wind's whipping down the boardwalk. Hey man! Hey man! You guys know what time of year it is? What time? What? Oh, Christmas time. You guys all been good and practicing real hard? Yeah? Clients, you've been rehearsing real hard now. So Santa, bring you a new saxophone, right? Everybody out there been good or what? Oh, that's not many. You guys in trouble out here. Yeah, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Ho, 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 ho. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. 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 Santa Claus is Santa Claus is coming.
Bruce Springsteen,
He's having one of them
Santa
nights,
Claus
Walshy.
is coming to town. You're listening to LCFC Radio, where
come on,
Steve
Nev.
Walsh cannot get his headphones on. If you're watching on our social media
I'm not
feeds, you'll be
helping
able to see him struggling
Comedy
on.
value.
He'll get there eventually. In the meantime, let's check in on the punny old game, of course, playing against Everton as Leicester go the other side of Stanley Park to try and secure a place in the League Cup semi-final. So it's things found in a park that is the subject of today's punny old game. Anything so far, gentlemen?
Matt's got a few, haven't you?
Well, you're in there, Stiz, as well. Come up one straight away. Right, I'm going to get this one out of the way.
Yeah, go on.
You've got to fill in the gaps yourself.
Yeah, go on.
There was a centre half
Right.
who used to play for QPR, big brute of a centre half called Danny Shitu.
Oh, there was.
And there's a word in between that might fit.
Right.
Canine. Danny Canine Shitu.
Very
Okay,
good. Well,
I got it out
we'll go with that. Yeah. very, very good.
And, there's a park bench, as
There
in
is.
Ben Chilwell,
Yeah.
which I'll give you a little bit of credit for that. 'Cause
Well,
you instigated
Craig's
it.
on the same lines. He's going for Trevor Benjamin.
Yeah, both Leicester related. aren't
Yeah,
they?
so we'll get a
Yeah,
bench
give
in
it a
there.
shout.
Any more for any more, Richard?
Robert Snodgrass.
Yeah, it's
Average,
all right.
average
at
grass,
best.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Richard, anything from you?
The only one I got was Wesley Slider.
Like that.
Very good. Yeah,
Decent,
like that.
Yeah, I got Ian Walker, maybe Eric Gates.
Yeah.
Gates in the park, isn't
Okay.
there?
All right. Yeah.
Maybe.
Steady Walls, aren't they?
Fountain. There's someone called Fountain with it? Footballer, no?
Probably.
Fountain, yeah.
Yeah, there was
Wasn't
Fontaine.
Fontaine.
Ah, I've got it wrong.
French, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Back in the 40s or something silly, wasn't it?
We'll look into that one, shall
Marco
we?
Fontaine.
Let's just...
Answer.
We were just reminiscing off air with you two. It was a bit of a hello goodbye with you guys when you were playing together, Matt and
Do
Richard.
you know what? I didn't realise, that was my last game for Leicester was Richard's first, his debut. I knew we overlapped a little bit, but not for that brief a period.
Many moons ago, yeah. You pre-warned me in the warm-up. Your knee was struggling, so
Yeah.
get ready.
You warmed me in the warm-up. You saw me warming up and went, Matt, you're struggling. But, yeah, no, I was, to be fair. My knee was hanging off at that stage. Not quite to Walsh's degree, but I knew my time was running out. But left in capable hands, shall we say. Because I remember when Rich... Do you remember when we played, I think it was Loughborough Dynamo pre-season?
Pre-season, yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
And then I knew a little bit about Richard, heard about him, as you do. Word filters through, oh, this lad's decent, coming from the youth team, etc. But got thrown in a little bit at the deep end, alongside myself in pre-season in the first team fixture. Straight away, I was saying to the lads, we've got a player here. They just slotted in, no qualms, no nerves. He was just boom in there as if he'd been playing for like a 27-year-old, not a 17-year-old. Knew straight away that things were going to go well for him.
Yeah, Cardiff
they
away was that game, wasn't it?
Cardiff away, horrible 0-0 draw or something, wasn't it?
It was a draw. I know that. How we got away with a clean sheet with me doddering around at the back like that, I don't know. But, yeah, it wasn't the most auspicious of endings, but there you go. Or starts, I suppose. Gone on to better things, son.
What was it like when you're waiting for that call from the manager, knowing your debut's minutes away?
Yeah, I think Matt alluded to it there. I felt as though I was kind of ready. It sounds strange, but I'd been in and around the first team for quite a while since that pre-season. Thought I was doing okay in and around, players a lot older than me, and learning off them, like the likes of Matt, who better to learn off. And yeah, I travelled with the squad a few times, managed to get on the bench. It was only 5 players on the bench back then, so if you're on the bench, you've got a really good chance of coming on. I think, funny enough, I come on in centre midfield for some reason. I think we were just seeing the game out, and yeah, what a fantastic moment for myself. Never forget it.
Absolutely. Right, tonight it's all about the League Cup, of course, trying to get in those semi-finals. Aston Villa are already there. This happened last night.
For long periods of the game, I thought we were well in the game, but you get a harsh reality of the quality that you're facing, and we got that. We ran out a little bit of legs and steam in the second half, which was understandable, but it was an incredible night. I don't think any of us wanted it to end.
Our boys had to be very professional. They made it difficult for us at times. They started off very well, very brightly, which we expected. I think the first goal gave our lads enough to go and and get more after that.
There's still steps to make, obviously, but I think some of them showed that in the future there's a potential for some of them to hopefully one day play for us or play in the Premier League or at least have a career in football.
Hearing from Neil Critchley and Dean Smith after Aston Villa 5, Liverpool 0 last night. Of course, Liverpool playing a very young side. I can't remember exactly what the average age was, but it was certainly very young.
19.
I think it was 19 and
5
3
months.
Yeah, something like that. Obviously, Liverpool playing in the Club World Cup in Qatar. 5:30 kick-off against Monterrey today. For Aston Villa, strange sort of game. I'm sure they were expected to win, weren't they? But for Liverpool, great experience. You talking about playing as a younger player. For them, there's nothing better, is there, than testing yourself against Premier League opposition?
Absolutely fantastic for those players that were involved. They've got a taste of first team action quarter final in a major cup competition. What better way to test yourself than against the Premier League opposition? Albeit, they got beat quite well in the end, but that would be something that lives with them forever. There's something they can work with and progress on, and yes, what a fantastic occasion for them.
And when you look back at the goals, I don't know if you saw any of them, but they were all goals that were little errors here and there that, being mature players, they'll probably wipe those out of their game, and they're probably looking back thinking, if it wasn't for those silly errors, actually we did all right.
Yeah, an element of that, certainly with the Al Mohammedi one, was it deflection?
Yeah, second one, I think it looped over
the
the
killer in it, and sod's law really. But I suppose, as much as anything, perhaps the experienced players or collectively wouldn't have allowed them to get to those positions, areas anyway. That would be the main thing, because if you do, who's to say at any one time the players would have dealt with that situation itself any better on the night, and if a bit of bad fortune goes against you, you can end up in a sticky situation. But the key is being in control of the game, really. Liverpool's under-23s, I saw them against Leicester recently. It was actually a draw from memory, but Leicester were winning with about 30 seconds to go. But Liverpool, in truth, if I'm honest, were the classier team. But Leicester out-manoeuvred them, really, out-battled them. And the intensity of their play upset Liverpool, and it was pretty much not player for player, but similar to the team that played against Villa last night. And that extra sort of bit of intensity about the play, a bit of physicality, a bit of know-how, it was always going to make a bit of difference. I suppose in the long run, although I didn't see the whole game, but by all accounts, they weren't a million miles away, were they?
No, I was listening to the TalkSport before, and Klopp's been taking a bit of stick. You think, God, these
there's always someone.
What's happened to the mental state of these lads after they've been thrown in to a game like this, a big game? So that but you look at the stats, and they had the better possession, the better, more shots on target. So there's a wonderful thing coming through their system of youth, and they'd have loved it. I don't think that they would have been,
like you said, stat-wise, Wolf.
Yeah, so they've given a good account of themselves, and and it shouldn't have been 5-0. Doesn't justify how the game went. So
Neil Critchley was saying there. He said, we didn't want it to end. We wanted to carry on playing. The players were enjoying that so much. Yeah,
just building their way into it, weren't they? But is this where the term snowflakes originates from? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Oh, the mental state of the play. Oh, that's part and parcel of football. What an experience. Great. It's not like they've got totally demoralised anyway, for the reasons we just mentioned. It's a great part of their education.
Yeah, as for Aston Villa, obviously reaching the semi-finals, we saw them only just last week. They're struggling in the league. Is that a help or a hindrance getting through and progressing through in the competition?
I mean, any game you want to play and you want to win, so it might breed a little bit of confidence. I know Kodja hadn't, scored. Wesley comes on, scores. It's good. It's good for them to get through the round. A bit of confidence. They certainly need a win on the board, so I think it'll help them.
I'll tell you what, Lewis. I went to Villa Park for the Leicester game, and Wesley did absolutely. He did nothing. We totally, ripped them apart on home ground on that Sunday. That was a hell of a performance, and yet you look at them. For me, we made them look very mediocre team, really did. But I think Villa have got enough in them to get out of this. I don't think they'll go down.
What are you saying? You fancy him in the semi-finals, what?
But well, you know all about that. I mean, you scored against was it in the League Cup when you scored? Was it Matt?
It was. As we mentioned many times.
I can still mention you.
Just hold the programme a minute.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll come back onto all that a little bit later.
Plenty
So
of
let's
time
leave
for
that
that,
for now. We're talking about the under-23s, obviously, of Liverpool. Leicester's are in action tonight against Villarreal in the Premier League International Cup. 7 o'clock kickoff at Holmes Park, and we'll keep you up to date throughout the evening how they're getting on. Also, 2 other games in the League Cup tonight. We'll look at those very shortly after a bit of John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so this is Christmas. I hope you had fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So this is Christmas for weak and for strong, the rich and the poor ones. The road is so long, and so happy Christmas for black and for white, for yellow and red ones. Let's stop all the fight. A very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. So this is Christmas, and what have we done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. And so happy Christmas. We hope you had fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. Very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's hope it's a good one without any fear. What is over if you watch it? What is
There we go, getting ready for Christmas on LCFC Radio with a bit of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Also getting ready for Everton against Leicester City in the League Cup quarter-final tonight. We'll look at some of the other games that are taking place as well. Gav's been in touch. I've travelled back from Vietnam, where I work, with my girlfriend. This will be her first ever football match, followed closely by her second at Man City, hoping for lots of goals to distract from the freezing temperatures. Gav, good to have you back, and also have a fantastic time tonight. Lots of people getting involved with the punny old game. We will come back to that very shortly after your news headlines.
You're listening to LCFC Radio.
Donald Trump says he did nothing wrong as debates continue as to whether he should be removed from office. The US president denies claims he asked the Ukrainian government to investigate Joe Biden, his political rival. The House of Representatives is likely to vote for impeachment, but the Senate is expected to acquit him next year. Republican Tom Cole says the claims are baseless.
Democrats have been searching for a reason to impeach President Trump since the day he was elected. And if my colleagues in the majority believe they have proven their case, let me be clear, they have not.
A teenager has been jailed for at least 21 years for killing 14-year-old Jaden Moody. He was knocked off his moped as he was out drug dealing in East London. 16 men, including a police officer, have been charged with historical sex offences against children in the Halifax area. The allegations include several counts of rape, supplying drugs and trafficking. They date from 2006 to 2009 against 3 girls aged between 13 and 16. Our reporter Kit Bradshaw has details of the serving officer.
His name, Amjad Ditta. He is a police officer in West Yorkshire's Police's Protective Services Operations. That department is responsible for the investigation of serious and complex crimes. He is accused of sexual touching. He has been suspended from duty.
Nurses in Northern Ireland are staging a 12-hour protest in a row over paying conditions. It's forced routine appointments to be cancelled and caused delays to ambulance services. Whirlpool has apologised after its helpline and website to advise customers were hit by technical problems. Yesterday, the firm announced it was recalling more than 500,000 Hotpoint and Indesit washing machines due to a potential fire risk. It now says the online model checker is fully operational. And Liverpool kick off in the semi-finals of the Club World Cup soon. They take on the North American champions Monterrey from Mexico in Qatar. That's the latest. I'm Kat Suave.
LCFC.com, Facebook and Twitter. You're listening to the Pre-Match Pint, brought to you by Chang Beer.
If you're just joining us, welcome to LCFC Radio for your Wednesday evening. It's Everton against Leicester City in the quarter-final of the League Cup. Full commentary at the start of kick-off. 7:45 is the start of the game tonight, and we've got all the coverage before then. Starting with the Pre-Match Pint with me, Lewis Mason, Richard Stearman, Matt Elliott and Steve Walsh. And Matt Elliott currently has a bit of a smile on his face, and he kind of made a bit of a noise like, oh yes, I've got one. Punny old game, go on.
Realisation, I've got a few. Right. Didier Drogba.
Yes.
That's good.
Like
Thank you. Cheers, Walt. Niall Park Ranger.
Very good.
Or just Niall Ranger, but dressing it up a bit.
Yeah.
Bit of a basic one for the goalkeeper, Phil Parks.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Fullback, the younger generation might not have heard of. Mike Feed the Duxbury. Mike Duxbury, Man United right back.
Mike.
Do you remember him, Lewis? No, you don't remember him, do you?
No.
No, Paul Parker as well, wasn't there? Paul Parker.
Gary Parker.
Gary Parker. Yeah. There's plenty of them.
Rich's one.
Rich got one.
Sunji Park.
Yeah,
that's
the
Montford
student.
Got down that. Actually, you set me up for one, Matt, because you said, I've got an absolute corker. I went, do you mean conker? A Leander Den Conker. Come on.
Rubbish.
No. Come on.
No, we'll give you that. We'll give you that
class.
one. Yeah, we'll give you that, mate. We need a bit of
something.
Yeah, a bit of creativity, don't we?
Keep them coming. If you've got, we've got Tony Conkertree from Craig. Craig. I think it's Tony Cotty. I think. Craig is sacked.
Craig,
my
leave
friend.
it. It's not Christmas
It's not
yet.
rugby, that Graham Roundtree. But
oh dear. Keep them coming. It's a
Christmas a bit early there,
on
isn't he?
the
Sorry,
punny
mate.
old game. Right, it's not just Everton against Leicester tonight. There's other games taking place in the League Cup.
Probably in the middle of one of the most difficult injury crises we've had for a long, long time. I think the other week we had 10 of our first team squad not available for selection. but we still carry on. We still try and achieve and play the way we want to play. We have a way of playing.
They changed a little bit the difference they played last season, the way set up play, but played quite similar in terms of attack. And it was one game away, everything can happen, and we're going like we did in the past, try to go there and win and go to semi-final.
You don't want to go too much into the detail of it because you can be scared to death in a way if you look at it, but it's one where you've got to try and again hit our targets in the game. But that's the biggest thing we've got to try and do, hit our targets within the game, what we can try and achieve within the game, and see where that takes us.
The prize now is to get to a semi-final, and then you're not too far away. So the motivation and the attitude will be right, definitely.
Yes, tonight's also Oxford against Manchester City and Manchester United against Colchester. Let's start with Oxford Man City then. They met last season in the third round of the same competition. It was 3-0 to City at the Kassan. Jesus, Mahrez and Foden scored, just showing that was even in the early rounds of the League Cup. Whatever side Man City put out is going to be a bit of a task for Carl Robinson and his Oxford side, but one they're going to relish, Matt.
Yeah, of course he will. I mean, it's a massive occasion, isn't it? Was it the last round or the round before they beat West Ham? 4-0.
Yeah, round before last, yeah.
They're flying, aren't they? They're absolutely flying. Well, in relative terms for Oxford in League One. I'm not sure their exact position, but they're up in the top region, aren't they, Rich?
Top half, I think,
yeah. Turn the fortunes of the club right round.
Yeah, they beat Peterborough 1-0, beat Millwall and Sunderland on penalties, and of course that 4-0 win against West Ham.
Doing a great job there. And having said that, it's Man City, isn't it? I mean, the risk of getting carried away, and there's loads of positives in Oxford's favour, but not enough. Probably same scoreline, quite possibly the same scorers as last year.
Well, yeah, they've beaten Man City. They beat Preston, 3-0. Beat Southampton 3-1. They've got a tendency to score 3 goals in this competition, but you fear it could be more as well.
Yeah, it could be. And he usually goes strong in the cup, does Pep. But, a third team could maybe get through this. Oxford have got a lot of injuries. So there's only, for me, one winner, without a doubt. There really is.
Yeah, that's what Carl Robinson was saying. It's like, why now to have all the injuries? But I guess for some of those fringe players coming through, they'll be thinking, wow, my game to impress is against Man City, the champions.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for them, isn't it? And yeah, I mean, some of those fringe players, we really relish in the opportunity to try and go on and put a performance against some of the best players in the world. So good luck to them.
Weirdly, they've got a massive game against Wycombe at the weekend, localish derby as well. Wycombe top of the league, and I don't know, it's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it, really, for the manager there, with the injuries on top as well.
He might not have much choice as well, because his squad's not going to be as fast as Man City.
He might make it easy for him, yeah. He might have to play the same team.
But they've had some big wins this year in the league, haven't they?
Yeah, he's on the screen now behind us. We talk.
Yeah,
sorry, Rob.
They've had some big wins, haven't they, this season, if I recall. Oxford, some 5s and 4s, and scored a lot of goals. But obviously now the depleted squad, you can't see anything else than Man City. They'll play enough players in that just to win that without a doubt.
We mentioned his name earlier. Gary Parker's involved down there. Our old teammate.
Is he?
Parks, yeah. He's supposed to do a couple of days a week.
Remember you signing from there,
Oxford.
How much did you sign
for? I did,
for?
yeah. Funny enough, Parks used to be he was my driver for a while.
Yeah.
I was incapacitated.
What was that
on the
for?
Driving stakes. Oh, just a minor misdemeanour.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's a social media.
There.
Someone sent.
He's from Oxford, isn't he?
Have you seen that?
I'm worried now. Where's this
Twitter
going?
thing of you? I think there's a ball over. So did you collide with your own keeper and someone scored?
Oh, Lance
I've been
Key.
watching that today.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Playing for Oxford, ball from back to front, over the top, in the channel. You're just sitting there waiting for it. And it makes me look all right, Cloud. To be fair, in my defence, I was shepherding it back and I got the call. The keeper just missed the ball and hoofed me in the midfield. We've both gone over and said
he blames the keeper, but when you have a look at it,
we'll have a little
I've retweeted it to about 40,000 people anyway, so just in case.
I can vaguely remember that.
Yeah, we'll send that one to VAR and
VAR is brilliant.
And analyse it a little bit later.
I was happy there, I thought
some memories though, Matt, from Oxford, yeah.
The other game tonight is Manchester United against Colchester. Colchester, the lowest ranked side left. But they'll have a little bit of a battle with Oxford for what they've done so far, beating Crystal Palace and Tottenham in this competition, also beating Swindon and Crawley. But going to Old Trafford, it's not easy, is it?
Yeah, it's still going to be a tough ask, isn't it? I half fancy Colchester getting something more than I do Oxford, to be honest. But still, I can't see it really happening. And yeah, Manchester United squad's still going to be strong enough. Probably chuck a few kids out there as well. And yeah, I fully expect them to comfortably get through the tie.
Well, because their League Cup games so far this season have been a little bit reflective of what they've done all season. The Rochdale game, they struggled, got through on penalties at a time they were really struggling. Then they were class against Chelsea to win that game in the last round. But you just feel for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this is actually probably quite a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, they've just had I'm trying to find a word to explain it. They're very up and down this season, Manchester United, aren't they? And it's it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back almost. And yeah, it's going to be a tough ask for them, I think, to continue just on a rich frame of form, and Colchester's going to prove to be a tough ask for them, I think.
Do you imagine that Solskjaer's looking at this, Matt, and thinking, I'll just go about this League Cup business quietly and just go as far as we can and say, look, we've actually made progress here, we've done well in a cup competition, because, he's still getting heckled from certain areas.
Yeah, I think they sort of play it by ear as they go along, don't they, really? I don't think... I don't think Solskjaer will be sort of setting his stall out to go for the Carabao Cup as such, just to do very well, win a trophy and say, there you go. Like Mourinho maybe did, didn't he? He used to take pride, or still does, take pride in showing that to the board, and it's a measure of success, if you like. Now, I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong, but it's about, Solskjaer's got to be about the general development of the club, isn't he? He's got to show the board that he's capable of finding a way forward for Manchester United. Now, just sort of fleetingly or flitting in with, a Carabao Cup these days, which is not, unfortunately, held in as high esteem as perhaps it has done in years gone by. Is that enough to sort of warrant him being secure in his job down the line? It's more of an all-round thing, and if that's a consequence, then great for him. But you fancy them to be in the final four, don't you? And once you're there, every chance, why not? But Man United, a lot of people ridiculing Man United, etc. And it was strange to see how poorly they were playing. But I don't think those times will sort of resurface anytime soon, really. I think they're only going to get better and better. Some drastic changes been made there, haven't there, at Old Trafford? Big players going. I mean, who would have seen that Lukaku leaving? And they have left themselves short, but there's a reason for it. There's a purpose. They're trying to sort of, regain and recreate their reputation, really, aren't they? Starting almost not from scratch, but from not far away from it. But they're only going to get stronger and stronger. They're still still a good side. Well, when you
of course they are. I mean, this would be an embarrassment, total embarrassment to the club if he doesn't get this right. So
it's the depth of the squad, isn't it? When they do make changes, you look at it and you go, who's he? I'm sure Rich is a current Premier League player. Probably doesn't know some of them players, but when they've got their full team out, there's still a stiff proposition.
Yeah, so Manchester United against Colchester, Oxford against Manchester City, and of course it's Everton against Leicester at Goodison Park. We'll look more at that game after a bit of Kelly Clarkson. listening to the Pre-Match Pint on LCFC Radio, brought to you by Chang Beer. It's Everton against Leicester City in the quarter-final of the League Cup at Goodison Park. And, what a night for Leicester players. Surely you don't really need much motivation when it's a cup quarter-final, do you? Do you need many words of encouragement?
You would hope not. Ask Rich, he's got fresher memories than me, but certainly, yeah. I mean, well, especially probably got even more motivation in the fact that they've gone out in the last 2 seasons, because they must be really frustrated, up against Man City and going out with penalty shootout both occasions, isn't it?
2 years running,
nearly, but not quite, against the best team in that competition in 2 years. They feel sort of hard done by. They've drawn them at that stage, but. It was a matter of what if on both occasions, wasn't it? And lots of talk about how strong a side Leicester did or didn't put out, and maybe
that was the big thing, wasn't it? Especially last year.
But I mean, Man City put out weak, and I hesitate to say weakened side, but not as strong a side as they could have, and the opportunity was there for Leicester to maybe capitalise even against the might of Man City, but. Wasn't to be. So some people saw it as wasted opportunities, perhaps justifiably so. But this time, I think I wonder if Brendan will surprise a few people with his team selection. I've got in my mind what I think he'll put out on previous rounds, and all things considered, with the game on Saturday against Man City coming up, pretty sharpish, isn't it? But it'll still be a very strong side. So you couldn't say that if it's the team I expect him to put out, you can't say Leicester aren't giving it a good crack. Because they've done it previously, if it is the same, and coped really well.
And Steve, what we've seen in the last couple of games is Brendan Rodgers has made some decisions in game, certainly personnel changes. We've probably seen a few more players over the last couple of weeks than we have in much of the season so far, in terms of new faces being added in. So I guess any changes tonight, it'll be a case of, well, we have seen them quite regularly, actually.
Of course we have. And, when you look at tactically what he's done this season and the changes in games, the diamond he played at Villa, and he's played his cards really well, and I will be strong tonight because there's a great opportunity, and it'd be nice for him to get to a final. Brendan, he's already stated, like I said, that he wants to do well in the Cups, which meant a lot to Leicester fans. That was a statement right at the start of the season. Now, when it comes down to it now, when you're in a position where we are in the league, how do you look at this? How do you view the next 2 games coming up in the league? Man City, Liverpool, and could be the biggest games of our season, really. And so it's a bit of a juggling act that. How do you play this? But there's enough in this squad to play a very good team, and I'm sure he'll get the right balance and the right mix to win the game, and believe that we can win it. Like Matt said, I've got an idea as well who he might change, but he could surprise and just play that full team. I don't know, but I would say he'll rest a few, and he'll also have a very strong team, because. Looking at this, it's an opportunity, a big opportunity to go into a semi-final of a big cup.
I guess the thing is, when he was at Celtic, Brendan Rodgers, he was used to sweeping up all the trophies and happy to do so.
Yeah, and he's a winner. He wants to win everything he's involved in. He wants to win this cup tonight. He wants to win the league. He'll put out a strong enough team he feels that can get through the fixture, and without looking too far ahead. Liverpool got knocked out last night. If they manage to avoid Man City in the next round, they're staring down the barrel at a major final, and yeah, Brendan will certainly want to win tonight.
Yeah, not being in the semi-final since that campaign 99-2000, of course, Matt. So for the fans, it'd be nice to have something new to talk about instead of you lot.
Well, they've had plenty to talk about since us, that's for sure.
From a League Cup point of view.
Not all good, but
they've broke a lot more records since then.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, quite a bit of success in other competitions, shall we say. But semi-final, whatever nature, is always an exciting time, isn't it? But you can use the prospect of being involved in semi-final as inspiration, motivation, if you want. But it's dealing with the here and now, isn't it? Getting on with tonight's fixture, you can start thinking about Wembley if you want, but it's no good if you don't get the job done tonight, and that's what Leicester have got to focus on. It's going to be extremely difficult. like we mentioned, for various reasons, the Ferguson-Ancelotti factor, Everton have picked up a little bit. They've had 2 excellent results, haven't they? Beating Chelsea, drew Man U, acquitted themselves well. Home factor, they've got the crowd right behind them, their partisan Goodison crowd. You know, there's plenty going in their favour now. Tables have not turned, but the pendulum swung a little bit. And if you want to look at Leicester with the negativity of a draw at home against Norwich, all these factors. But it's a crucial period for Leicester, though, without a doubt. They're more than capable of. They remind themselves how good a team they are. Don't let that little, wasn't a shock, was it? I mean, it's making it sound extreme, but the disappointment of Saturday, don't let that affect them. You know, remember what they've done for the, 15 games prior to that, and how wonderful they've been for the majority of that time. They're still that team. They go and prove it tonight against Everton, and hopefully.
It'd be interesting to see the lineup, what he starts with. We don't know, but you know, there's one thing for sure: what Brendan will do. He's not going to, you know, Puel really kind of threw that tie. Really, when you look back at that against Man City, and that shot, he shot his own foot really. And Brendan won't do that. You know, there's no doubt he'll have a lot of thought into this game to win it. And like you say, Rich, he's a winner. He wants to win games and win everything he can.
One man very much involved on Saturday, if only for half an hour or so, was Kelechi Iheanacho. In this competition, he's played 12 times, 6 goals, 3 assists, averaging a goal or assist every 80 minutes of play. It's a competition he likes. He's found a bit of form the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure if you saw what happened on Saturday at all, Rich. But do players have that? Oh, I did well in this competition. So does it give you that extra bit of boost, or is it another game and actually that's just for the stats man?
Yes and no. I think watching the previous rounds, as I have, he obviously gets his opportunity more so in the cup competitions than he does in the league, and he's done very well. From what I've seen in the cups, his stats don't lie. He's done very well, goals and assists. So he will have these games earmarked as where, you know, I'm probably going to get a chance here, and he'll want to impress and try and force himself into that league side, and yeah, I fully expect him to do well again tonight.
Yeah, and Everton will have bad memories of him from just a couple of weeks ago.
Of course, yeah. I think there's every chance he will start. But Brendan's also capable of throwing a little cheeky one in there as well, though, because you know.
What's the cheeky one then?
Well, I'm saying maybe Vardy. I think it's highly unlikely, but you know, if you're an Everton centre half, you think, Iheanacho, a good player that he is, and he's had recent success again. They're thinking they got a night off from Vardy. You know, if you chucked him in, I wasn't expecting that. Even if it was for a little while, I don't think he will, because of how close the game against Man City, how important that is as well. But
the odds are Iheanacho is going to play. But I've been a little bit surprised with, you know, and fair play to Iheanacho, because I was beginning to write him off.
Yeah,
I really was.
He turned it around, didn't he, last couple
he
of
has,
days?
And there seems
I thought he did
to
it right
be.
Saturday, didn't you?
I'll tell you what, and do you know what? Against Villa, when he got booked, remember when he chased someone all the way back and slide tackle, and it was a good tackle. He shouldn't have been booked, but that for me just showed that he started now to work hard for the team, because a lot of the time he looked very lethargic and lazy.
He's fit now,
and he seems to have a new lease of life, but he's got to do more. He's got to do a lot more for everyone to
I asked
accept.
you that, Rich, on that subject. Well, sorry, before, I think when you came on before, but it's prevalent now with Iheanacho. He's come back into the team. Only played those 2 cup games, but he looks sharper than he did when he was getting a little run of games. So just wonder how you do it these days. You know, because you don't play, certainly in Leicester's case, they don't play too many 23 games, etc. But the training techniques these days and methods, they help you maintain.
I just think training in general is just a lot harder than it used to be, and you know that it's there's more coaches on the grass, and they're
is it more specific?
Yeah, it's more player specific to their individual needs. You've got GPS systems that they all know the yardage you've done, where players might need topping up throughout the season or week by week basis.
Is it more intense?
I'd say so,
Yeah.
and more specific, like you say. You know, you
can't
quite
hide
often,
these
no,
days,
not
can
at
you?
all, not at all. There is no
You can have
hiding
a
place
little-
with GPS.
You could have a little day off on the quiet, couldn't you? Sometimes just go missing a
Yeah,
bit.
you
couldn't
get the curly finger from the fitness coach. Now you need to do a little bit extra, and Iheanacho's probably benefited from that, and they've saw where he might need extra work. And if you're saying he's not involved in 23s games as much, then
Yeah.
he'll be putting in the hard yards on the training pitch after training away from the training ground maybe, and if it's more to him that he's
because
looking
they do
sharper.
talk about the increased and extra intensity that Leicester City, in particular, I'm sure other teams do it as well, don't they? But the intensity of the training has that benefit in the long run.
When you look at our team, the second half in a lot of games,
Yeah,
we've
they're strong,
been
aren't they?
so good and fit, and I don't know. It's
Well, it
just
shows in the late winners
they
and
look-
late goals that Leicester scored.
Yeah, and the ability, the technical ability that to pass it and play, which we do, and the possession stats this year, totally different than when we won the title. When there'd be that 2 banks of 4-4, 4-1-1 always, and we'd have no possession, but we'd hit people on the break and we'd win games. But now you're dominating in possession stats, and it is a terrific team.
You're listening to the Pre-Match Pint on LCFC Radio ahead of Everton against Leicester City. We've been talking about what the team might be, and all the team news will be on the way at the start of Matchday live from Goodison Park at 6:45. On the way, we're going to have a history lesson with Hutch and also talk more about tonight's opposition. That's after a bit of Band-Aid.
It's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade. And in our world of plenty, we can spread a smile of joy. Throw your arms around the world at Christmas time. But say a prayer. Pray for the other ones at Christmas
listening to the Pre-Match Pint on LCFC Radio, brought to you by Jane Beer. In the Club World Cup game, Monterrey won, Liverpool won. 20 minutes into that one, Keita gave Liverpool the lead, but Monterrey equalised just 3 minutes later. Matt, I've had a little email come in saying, does Matt Elliott look like the chap out of that BBC programme, The Repair Shop? Have you got a doppelganger going on? Who's this guy from The Repair Shop? I don't know.
Possibly.
I've never seen
I've been
this.
accused recently of looking like the tennis umpire who turns up in Monaco every now and then or whatever. Have you seen him?
No, but I've never seen
he's
The
a bit
Repair
slimmer
Shop
than me,
either.
to be fair.
Have you ever seen this programme?
The closer you
Repair
get,
Shop?
the less he looks like.
Repair Shop.
Yeah, we'll have a look into that, but I don't know.
Oh, I always watch it. In fact, I think I recorded it.
Is it? One of your go-tos, is it, Matt? Right, let's do the punny old game and wrap that up. We're talking about things found in a park today, as Leicester, of course, playing the other side of Stanley Park against Everton. Right, in goal, Ian Walker. Good shout, Steve Walsh. In defence, we've got Mike Feed the Duxbury. Sorry.
Well, just Duxbury. It was
No,
just
I like that.
accentuate.
I like to
Okay.
Feed the Duxbury. That's good. Liam Fontaine. Yeah. Danny K9 Shitu.
We're going for that, aren't we?
Yeah. Courtney Treehouse. Bench Chilwell. That's our five men at the back.
Can I just say,
What's
why is it
happening?
okay to say canine?
I don't
shitter
really
and not
know.
dog shitter? I said it.
Oh, there it is. Wesley Slider in the midfield with Leander Denkonka, Niall Park Ranger in there, and then Trevor Benjamin and Didier Dogba up front.
Dog pooper.
No, don't. Why do you? Oh, for goodness sake. Let's have a history lesson with Hutch, shall we?
Good evening, John.
Good evening, Dan.
Leicester City in quarter-final action in the Carabao Cup, just as they have been for the past couple of seasons. Unfortunately, in the last few seasons, they've not gone that one step further. Do you think they will tonight?
I really, really hope so, Dan. And again, I think there's a fair chance they will, but I have to be careful.
And of course, they've got to get a result away at Everton at Goodison Park. So we'll go for 3 games, 3 memorable games on Merseyside. So, first game, you've gone all the way back, though, to 1953.
Yeah, I mean, even I don't remember this one, Dan, but it was an important game. It was a top-of-the-table second division clash. There were 52,000 at Goodison. Johnny Morris, an ex-England international, gave Leicester a 1-0 half-time lead. In the days before substitute, City were then hampered by an injury to Jimmy Baldwin, who was a wing half. Everton took advantage of this and equalised. Derek Hines scored Leicester's winning goal with a header late in the second half. And in a tense finish to the game, Anderson had to leave the field with a facial injury. Arthur Rowley, great goal scorer, took over in goal. An Everton player was sent off, but Leicester managed to hold on for a famous victory. And at the end of the season, Leicester pipped Everton to the second division title by the narrowest of narrow margins on a 0.3 goal average. They did it on goal average in those days, not goal difference, having scored 109 goals in all competitions. Leicester and Everton went up. Everton have been up ever since, in fact.
So that game proved vital then. Next one is 10 years later. It's December 1963.
This was a memorable game. It was Leicester's biggest win at Goodison Park. They beat them 3-0. Leicester took the lead after 19 minutes when Mike Stringfellow scored, and a minute before half-time, Bobby Roberts headed home a Howard Riley cross. Roberts scored his second goal after 66 minutes when he turned and lashed a fierce left footer past Rankin in the Everton goal, and the 3-0 win completed the double over the current league champions Everton.
Well, let's hope it's something similar this evening then. And finally, this is the title-winning season at Goodison Park and a cracking game.
Now, this is Okazaki. Meanwhile, it's 3-1. Shinji Okazaki has made it Everton 1, Leicester 3, and surely Leicester will be top of the table at Christmas.
This was in December 2015, Dan. Everton 2, Leicester City 3. Premier League title-winning season, as you say. It was the game between two teams that were in form. Leicester only had, and this was typical of that season, 33% possession, but they scored 3 goals. It was their 4th successive away fixture. They'd scored 3 goals. Amara's penalty put Leicester ahead in the 27th minute after Okazaki had been pulled down, or held back rather. Lukaku equalised 5 minutes later. Mahrez restored Leicester's lead in the 63rd minute with a penalty, another penalty. when Everton keeper Tim Howard tripped Jamie Vardy, and then 5 minutes after that, Shinji Okazaki made it 3-1 when he scored with a left-footed shot from a Vardy low cross. Kevin Morales scored in the last minute to make it 3-2. Leicester's victory, their 7th in 8 games, ensured that Leicester were top of the league on Christmas Day, and on the previous Christmas Day, they'd been bottom.
Blimey.
Amazing.
Some turnaround.
Yes, I should say.
This is the Pre-Match Pint, brought to you by Tang Beer.
There we go, a bit of a history lesson with Hutch from Everton games down the years at Goodison. We'll talk about some of the boys' memories of playing there very shortly, but you think you've been thrown under the bus a bit by Steve with the repair shop man. Steve Fletcher, we think it is.
Hey,
Yeah, nothing like
anyone
him,
with
no.
no hair, they're like, oh, it looks like you, Matt. Like,
No, I don't look like you.
I've actually got a bit of hair.
Yeah, mate.
It's shredded wheaty, but it's still got it.
He's not got your nose though, Matt, has he, at all?
Luckily for him.
Playing Everton then away at Goodison Park. It's always kind of known as one of those, it's a tough place to go type places.
It is very traditional, old school ground, very good, very nice to play in, very tough to play in. I broke my wrist there, so not great memories for me, but...
Was that punching Ferguson?
No, I landed funny from my head, snapped my wrist. But
Nice.
no, a real, like I say, traditional ground and a good place to go, but a tough place to go.
And now they've got their atmosphere back, the fans are a bit happier with recent weeks, and it will have a bit more of that kind of hostile atmosphere that you're expecting.
Yeah. It'll be lively, won't it? Up in Liverpool, they're quite partisan, aren't they? But I used to like playing there. It always a pretty, not hostile environment, but it was lively. But at the same time, they do understand and appreciate football as well generally. Because strangely, I remember us getting clapped off there once because we played really well. I think we won the game. I can't remember the result, but we were sort of little Leicester. But we went up there.
Is that when Ferguson played?
Ferguson. It might have been around that time. Yeah, but I played against him a few times up there. But we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we played particularly well. I remember this day, and then they were surprised how well. We had good players, didn't we? We had Lenny, Muzzy, and
I think we won 2-0 or 2-1.
Esky, everyone doing their bits, and they were like, "Oh, I tell you what, they're not just working hard, and we're playing good football, and we won the game, and they've gone from booing their team to actually clapping us." And you could feel it, you could sense it. I mean, what a feeling for an away team, to be honest. They're being, too fair on us. But as we walked off, they were actually clapping us. Like, oh, right, we must have been decent. So, fair play to them for that. On the flip side of that, I've been in there in the media, and they howl and moan and claim absolutely everything. That it's ridiculous. It's borderline embarrassing. And even when you're doing media, you're meant to be impartial, aren't you? You feel like turning around and go, come on, mate, give it a rest. But they just claim anything if the game's tight.
Because you're right in the middle, aren't you, as media?
Yeah, they're hanging over your shoulder, aren't they?
Yeah.
Spitting and slavering all over you. You eat a couple of their chips halfway through, but they're they'll have their tails up tonight, won't they? Leicester have to be properly on the game, but that's where Brendan's got to remind them how good a team they are and go in there, strut the stuff, and be confident like they have been, and don't let circumstances sort of dictate how the game goes. Go there and be the enforcers themselves if they can be.
Of course, Leicester trying to get a position in the semi-final of the League Cup. And yes, gents, you're going to be able to go through those memories very, very shortly. And the next batch of songs are actually from that year, 99 to 2000. And we're going to go through the different phases. When it was Crystal Palace game, the 4-2 win. What was number one? The Venga Boys. And we're going to Ibiza.
Hello, party people. This is Captain Kim speaking. Welcome aboard Venga Airways. After takeoff, we'll pump up the sound system because we're going to Ibiza.
I don't wanna be a bus driver all my life. I'm gonna pack my bags and leave this town. Grab a flight, fly away on Venga Airways.
There we go. That was number one, 22nd of September 1999, when Leicester beat Crystal Palace 4-2. It went on to be quite a time in the League Cup, and I know you've been wanting these memories for ages to come up, Walshy and Matty, so here you go.
I've got one on the punny old game.
Well, it's finished.
Oh. Well, I need to check this with you anyway.
Carry on then, Matt.
He's put it down again.
Hey, this is quite good, but what about John Flasheneau?
Oh, no.
Okay, he's not pressed. Okay, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So you didn't get to hear your memories, but here we go. You are allowed to hear your memories now. Here you go.
Claridge goes down and this time does get a free kick. Claridge has scored for Leicester. But once again, the importance of Steve Walsh. He was instrumental in the equaliser at Wembley, but watch him again, fighting to win the header.
Guppy now with the corner. It's Elliott! And then back in front. Quackner's joy is short-lived, and it's Elliott again.
About it. We do joke about it, but do you ever get bored of hearing those and remembering those moments? Steve?
You can't get bored of it. It's memories that we'll never forget, and I've got fond memories of the League Cup, as Matt has as well. And when you involved in them games, it's just great days, happy days, and we seem to have a good. The League Cup to us as Leicester and fans now becomes a trophy that you want to be involved in and win, and we've done it before a few times. So when a lot of teams now take this cup, not as serious as they should, we obviously, Matt, will remember it differently. But it's something that can ignite your season as well. If you play it in when is it, February, the final, is it now? So it's done within the season. So it can be number one on the board, especially these big clubs like Man City. They're taking it seriously now, and but obviously Liverpool, for different circumstances last night, have been the victim of their own success in a way. So you can't. I would never knock Klopp for what he's done, but for us, the memories and when it lifting that cup, Matt, it was special times. And although I did, I lifted it at Hillsborough because it was a replay, wasn't it? But amazing. I still remember that day, that night, and the fans were coming back home, and it's history, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, it's both the high point of both our careers, probably. Well, wouldn't it? I know you had promotion times as well with obviously the Derby playoff in particular.
I think as a captain to lift that cup, it's always, you'll never forget that moment, that what it means to the fans, what it meant to you and your family.
For us, wasn't it?
For us,
relative success for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we never got too far in the FA Cup. We never got the chance to be successful with the Premier League or even in Europe, really. Although we had a little quick flirtation a couple of times.
The FA Cup eluded us, didn't it?
Yeah, we messed it up a few times, but. No, it was. I mean, I never get bored of it. No, sometimes you get a little bit embarrassed, but when it's appropriate, it's nice to see it. At certain times, if it's an anniversary or whatever, you see it constantly getting churned out on social media stuff. Rein it in a bit. Do you know what I mean? A bit embarrassing, but it's nice at the right time, the right place. I'll talk about it all night long if you want.
I think now though, when you get to that quarter-final stage and you start to hang on a minute. We've got a chance here, so it changes the mentality. I think a few of these bigger clubs, the Man U's and the Man City, especially Liverpool now, the way the position is, they'll take it serious now, and think they can guide and bring on some of the younger players through the earlier rounds, which is great. I think it's still worth something.
It'd still be massive if Leicester won the Carabao Cup. The fact that. One, that they haven't won it for 20, if it was to be this year, 20 years.
Is it 20 years?
In itself, and haven't really been close to winning the competition, other than the Premier League, of course, and the Championship. But just the whole occasion. Wembley's still Wembley, isn't it? Even though it's a different actual building, it's still the same site and location. Still got that aura about it, and as Richard will tell you, the chances come few and far between to win any sort of competition. But Leicester fans would have missed the trips to Wembley. They liked it when they got it in the Community Shield, etc. But it's not quite the same. But that would be a wonderful occasion.
I'll tell you what, Leicester fans
the players will hold it dear.
As long as as long as we play the right team and we give it that the biggest shot we can, instead of going out in the fashion we did, against Man City, then the fans are happy. No matter what happens, we've give it, full attention and had a go at it, and that's all they want. And if we've given that, then there's no problems at all.
Winning the cup is sort of not necessarily defines a player's career, but certain moments get remembered more than others, don't they? Like Steve Claridge, say for instance, travelled all around. I was going to say the world, certainly all around the country.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Playing football, different clubs, flitted in and out of places. Was at Leicester for probably longer than most, admittedly, but his two moments really, with the winner in the playoff final, and obviously in the Coca-Cola Cup final. In his 2-year stint, probably was it at Leicester? He's made himself. He's still known now. Well, I was going to say as much as Walshy, not as much as Walshy, but as much as a lot of players who played 4 times longer than him. Because of what he did in that short space of time, and being the hero in the cup final. People remember that.
Yeah, you mentioned Wembley. Obviously, Steve Mark's been in touch, and I really hope they put a strong team out tonight, because there is that chance of Wembley. So obviously, as you said, fans do hold it dear. Richard, you obviously were involved in the competition this year, and really interesting from a Sheffield United point of view, because coming into the Premier League early on in the season, everyone's thinking, Sheffield United, they just need to survive. We've seen since then, actually, they've got bigger ambitions than that. Where did the League Cup kind of figure in terms of priority?
Well, as we were entering quite earlier stages, it was, survival in the Premier League was key. So we made 11 changes from, we've got quite a set league team, sort of the back 9, other than the strikers, they play pretty much every week. So it was a chance for players like myself to get a game, try and impress, let the manager know, if you need me, I'm here. And managed to score in one of them as well. But yeah, we got knocked out.
Cheeky little effort.
Nicked that one in there.
You always liked a little goal, though, haven't you, through your career?
At Leicester, I did. Yeah, I was getting 3, 4, 5 a season. I was a marauding right back for the majority of the time.
To be fair, yeah, you could play a number of positions, couldn't you?
So dried up a bit in my latter stages of my career, but as a youngster, I managed to get on the score sheet quite a bit.
As you said, you've got 50% success rate at the moment.
Yeah, 1 in 2.
We'll take that as it is. In terms of Leicester, obviously going to tonight, obviously the fans, you can just tell from the messages we're getting tonight, the big thing they're saying is strong team. Please have a strong team.
I bet Brendan's thinking, really, if I get knocked for him, he'll be looking at everything, thinking, just if he starts forward and he just picks up a hamstring, you just never know. What am I going to? What is going to happen? So we've got to.
Is it that midfield area where you think he's got more options, so there might be some changes?
Absolutely, I think that there will be. There's no doubt.
Do you think Chowdhury will come in?
I think he could. Yeah, I think you're right, Matt. I looked at that myself and I thought, why not?
But he's quite conceivably
player that's just been on the edge of it again.
Yeah, I think the team I've got in my head, I think in midfield, I think he'll play Chowdhury, Pratt.
Yeah.
I think Tillemans will play again.
Yeah.
Tillemans keeps playing, doesn't he? Might do an hour or whatever. Yeah.
Barnes will start as well.
Well, you're thinking perhaps Barnes, Perez, Iheanacho.
Yeah, Perez. They'll play. That's right. I think that'll be probably
that would be the sort of common sense. He might throw one in left field or whatever, but like I was saying, but that's what you'd imagine.
James Justin, I think
2 games ago, Perez and Barnes, your first choice. I don't know, inside forwards. What were they called these days? Which not wide men. They're not centre forwards. Whatever.
Wide forwards.
Wide forwards. So Hamza Chowdhury's had his time playing first team this season. Wes will probably come in. You'd imagine.
Do you think he will?
Fuchs instead of Chilwell. That's happened in Premier League games. Pereira and James. I don't know.
Does Danny Ward play?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of changes then, Matt.
It is, mate. But I know collectively people might say it's weakening, but it's not really.
I think it'd be a bit stronger than that. I think. Yeah, but you could be right.
I don't know.
And
You can make that many
it's a
changes,
guessing
still be
game.
as good a
But the
team.
one thing, like I said, as what he will be thinking, this manager is right. I want to win the game. How do I do it? By protecting my squad, because that's the thing. When you're second in the league and you're thinking, hang on a minute, we're looking at Champions League at the minute, and how many points are we above fifth place? About 11 points, 14 points, whatever it is. So the last thing he needs is an injury to a key player, but you can't think that way. You've got to think.
I think he can cover it, but Vard. I was just thinking, Vard. I bet he's tempted to go.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Saturday's massive, isn't it?
Just over half an hour until we find out what the team will be for tonight's game against Everton. We'll also be playing the Advent Calendar game very shortly, which I don't think Steve or Richard have played yet.
Dear.
All I'll tell you in advance is we're going behind the door of number 18, because it's the 18th of December. So we're looking at Leicester City number 18s.
They're looking at me. They remember it. We weren't meant to say that.
That's my first one. I've done that. I've got to love that.
Yeah. As long as there's chocolate.
There
at the
are
end
questions to go with it,
Oh,
Steve.
dear.
So don't just write down Matt Elliott.
Well, it's going to come up, isn't it? Obviously.
Who knows? We shall see very
of it. You
shortly.
remember that number?
You were number 18, yeah, of course.
It's weird what people remember. Yeah.
We will see what happens in that game very shortly. In terms of the playlist, obviously we're on this run to the last time Leicester made it to the semi-finals, and on the 13th of October 1999 when Leicester beat Grimsby 2-0, well, Christina Aguilera and Genie in a Bottle.
I feel like I've been locked up tight for a century of lonely nights, waiting for someone to release me. You're licking your lips and blowing kisses my way, but that don't mean I'm gonna give it away, baby, baby, baby. My body's saying let's go, my heart is saying no. If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. If you wanna be with me, I can make your wish come true. You gotta make a big impression. Gotta like what you do. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. You gotta rub me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come on and let me out. Music's playing and the lights down low. Just one more dance and then we're good to go. Waiting for someone who needs me. Hormones racing at the speed of light, but that don't mean it's gotta be tonight, baby, baby, baby. My body's saying let's go. But my heart is saying no. If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. If you wanna be with me, I can make your wish come true. Just come and set me free, baby, and I'll be with you. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. You gotta rub me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come on and let me out. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Gotta rub me the right way, honey. I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. Come on and let me out. My body's saying let's go, but my heart is saying no, no. If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. If you wanna be with me, I can make your wish come true. You gotta make a big impression. Gotta like what you do. If you wanna be with me, baby, there's a price to pay. I'm a genie in a your bottle, baby. Come on and let me out.
You're listening to the Pre-Match Pint on LCFC Radio, brought to you by Chang Beer. It's just gone 6:15. Let's get your latest news headlines.
You're listening to LCFC Radio.
Donald Trump is likely to become only the third president in US history to be impeached later. The House of Representatives is debating whether he abused his political power in order to get information about a political opponent. Mr. Trump has always denied this, but the Democrats are seeking to remove him from the White House. Republican Debbie Lesko says the process is politically biased.
This is the most unfair, rigged process that I have seen in my entire life. Not one of the Democrat witnesses was able to establish that the president committed bribery or high crimes and misdemeanors.
Republicans are likely to block the process in the Senate next year. A teenager's been jailed for life for what's been called a barbaric murder of a 14-year-old boy in East London. Jaden Moody became this year's youngest gang victim when he was stabbed 9 times in Leighton in January. Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry has become the first MP to officially enter the leadership race to replace Jeremy Corbyn. It follows Labour's worst general election results since 1935. Sir Keir Starmer says he's also considering standing. He insists the outgoing leader's ambitions set out in 2015 were the right ones.
He said we should be an anti-austerity party. We should be against cuts to public spending. And that was a fundamentally an important shift in our party. And what I'm concerned about in the aftermath of this election is that we oversteer and lurch to a different position.
Police searching for a man who went missing in Aberdeenshire have found his body in Denmark. Officers in Scotland don't believe there are any suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. Daisy Ridley, John Boyega and Richard E. Grant are in London for the premiere of the latest Star Wars film. The Rise of Skywalker is the final instalment. And it's all square between Liverpool and Monterrey in the Club World Cup. It's currently 1-1 in Qatar. That's the latest. I'm Kat Suave.
LCFC.com, Facebook and Twitter. You're listening to the Pre-Match Pint, brought to you by Chang Beer.
Right then, time to open the advent calendar on day number 18. So we're going to have a quiz and it's going to be head-to-head. Steve Walsh versus Matt Elliott versus Richard Stearman. What do you want to say, Matt Elliott?
I say, and it's 18 minutes past 6.
Thank you for the time check. 18 minutes past 18 hours as well.
Correct.
Wow.
When you said it, it was actually
18
16
seconds.
seconds.
You're ridiculous. Let's play this. Right then, simple as this. 5 questions. You don't need to shout out the answers, as Nev Folger did at the weekend. Steve Guffey got a little bit of a heads up on some of those answers.
Thinking aloud.
Thinking out loud. So 5 questions. They're all about Leicester City number 18s. People have worn the number 18 shirt for Leicester. Jot your answer down and we'll come back and top the totals up. So number 1, which Leicester City number 18 was all shook up when he joined the club in 2005 after a period on loan from Fulham? Been on loan from Fulham, then joined the club for good in 2005.
Oh, that's Richard's era.
Number 2, in 2007, which City number 18 was injured while assisting a goal in the 4-3 League Cup defeat to Chelsea? The injury kept him out for the season. In 2007, which City number 18 was injured while assisting a goal in the 4-3 League Cup defeat to Chelsea? The injury kept him out for the season.
What?
What?
I was just going back to the all shook up.
We'll come back to number 1. We're now on number 3, Matthew. Which City number 18, who was born in Loughborough, now captains Reading? Which City number 18, who was born in Loughborough, now captains Reading? Number 4, which City number 18 was cup-tied and missed the League Cup final in 1997? Which City number 18 was cup-tied and missed the League Cup final in 1997? And which City number 18 won silver at the African Cup of Nations with Ghana in 2015? Which City number 18 won silver at the African Cup of Nations with Ghana in 2015? So which players have we found behind the door of number 18 on the Leicester City Advent calendar? Let's see if Steve, Matt and Rich... Yeah, we're going to go back through them all.
Right.
Okay, which one do you want repeated?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Well, we're going to start with number 1, okay? Which City number 18 was all shook up when he joined the club in 2005 after he had a period on loan from Fulham?
You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I was hoping he'd come up.
Okay.
The only one I could really remember.
Well, if you know it for sure, let's go to Steve Walsh first.
I've got no idea.
No idea.
2005.
Matt?
I haven't got an answer.
You're especially keen on the all shook up bit, which I thought might give you a clue.
Hang on.
No, Rich.
Shake. Someone shake.
Shake.
Shakespeare. No.
Shake, rattle and roll.
Elvis Hammond. No.
Richard.
Elvis Hammond.
Yeah.
It was indeed Elvis Hammond. Point
late,
for
Matt.
Richard. Matt, you do not get that. In 2007.
Why not?
Because you had far too many clues prodding you in the right direction. In 2007, which City number 18 was injured while assisting a goal in the 4-3 League Cup defeat to Chelsea? The injury kept him out for the rest of the season. Any idea, Matt?
What year was that?
2007. Any ideas across the board?
He'll know.
You've been really kind to me those
I've
first
gone.
That's your... Because you was here, weren't you? You were playing...
I've got Kisnorbo.
No. Any guess from you, Walshy?
That was the wrong... bit late.
No, it'd just be a silly guess, but I've no idea.
Is it Levi Porter?
It was Levi Porter.
Come on.
2 out of 2 for Richard
He
Stearman.
signed in 2004 to 2008, and 2 of the questions are his era.
You all right, Walshy?
Well, go on then.
Which
Porter.
Which City number 18, who was born in Loughborough, now captains Reading?
He's got 5 out of 5 over there.
I think I've got this one. I ain't got the last 2. Haven't got the last 2.
Matt, anything from you?
Liam Moore.
Liam Moore, correct answer, Walshy?
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah, can I see it written on
Did
your
you?
piece of paper, please?
Yeah, no, I didn't write it down. I just had
can
it
I
in
see
my
it
head.
written on
I've
your
not
piece
You
of
did
paper?
everything, did you? You got to write it down, man.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I didn't. I've got them in
He's flagging it, isn't he?
No points, Steve Walsh. Right, yeah, that was right for Richard and for Matt. You had that as well, Richard. Number 4, which City number 18 was cup-tied and missed the League Cup final in 1997? Rich?
It'd be a guess from me. Oaksy? Stephen Oakes?
No. Walshy? Matt?
You got it?
Is it you?
Yeah. Just in
He was
case
trying to play the poker
Yes.
face.
Have you written it down?
Matt Elliott.
Oh, so you didn't write down Liam Moore then?
Well, I thought about it. But
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You get the point for Matt Elliott, and yes, it
Thought
was
we might
Matty
have,
Elliott.
bluffed it
Do you know
there.
what? Your poker face is very good. I was questioning whether I got it right then when I was looking at you. Number 5, which City number 18 won silver at the African Cup of Nations with Ghana in 2015?
I've just realised I've got it wrong.
You just realised you got it wrong. What's your answer that's
No,
written
I've got
down?
Ian Acho, but he's Nigeria.
It's not Ian Acho.
He wears 18,
Yeah,
doesn't
but
he?
more chat. Not indeed, I don't know.
No, it'd be, is it not Musa?
No.
Who was Ghana?
Defender.
So, no, what's his
Amasi.
name?
Still here.
Amarty, yes.
There was a call from there. I don't think any of you got that right, but I think
That's
that is 3 points for Richard Stearman. How many for you, Matt? 2?
Should have been 3. but I got
Was 2 and 1 for Steve Walsh.
3-2-1. 1-2-3.
Blimey.
I hate these games.
You do.
Ted Rogers, isn't it?
Good effort though, all round. I'm sure. I don't know what the date is on 21st, isn't it, on Saturday?
It is. What's the date today? 18th. The time.
Oh,
is,
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Very, very good one.
I know what I meant.
In terms of those questions you were able to get right there, Richard, obviously taking you back to your time here at Leicester City, what are your memories, overriding memories of playing for the club?
I think it was a myself personally, it was obviously a very good time for me and the younger lads, Levi Porter being one of them. Lads breaking through, being needed from academy setup. There was several of us that came through at the same time. The club didn't kind of have the money that it enjoys now, and it meant that we were able to play from an early age. So for myself, for my development, it was key. I might not have had the career I've had if it wasn't, for Leicester being sort of in that trouble a little bit, in the sense that they needed the younger lads to come through. Unfortunately, suffered a relegation, which meant I left the club at the time. But it's great to see that the club has just gone on from strength to strength, and certainly very pleased to see that.
Yeah, Matt, you spoke earlier about how that was just coming towards the end of your time with the club, but you saw that there was talent coming through, which must have been encouraging for someone who cared so much about the club.
Yeah, well, to be honest, at that time, Richard, Levi, Matt Piper had obviously departed by then. One or two. Who else was around your era?
Tommy Wright.
Tommy Wright, of course. Yeah, Tommy did excellent.
Alan
Had
Sheen
a decent
came
career.
through.
Alan's still going now, isn't he?
Alan's still. He's captain at Luton.
Luton, yeah. So there's a few boys from that era, but they just about getting their chance after I left, because at the time I left, there were quite a few big names here. The player turnover, which was one of the problems the club had, was ridiculous, to be honest. They were quite big name players. People forget that there was like Martin Keown, Dion Dublin, Danny Tiasso. The list was endless at that time. Jason Wilcox, loads of players coming through the door, but it was all, I don't know, there was no real pattern to it, and it didn't work. And then so you had to, for want of a better phrase, get rid of those players. They had to go elsewhere, and then put good timing for Rich and the likes of the lads that we just mentioned there, because the opportunity was there to go in at a good level at an early age, and set them a good stead for their careers, rightly so.
And it's something that Leicester City have taken on, isn't it? Bringing youth through, and it's something they really pride themselves on.
Yeah, it's great to see these lads given the opportunity, and there's certainly, it helps the football club in a lot of ways. Of, you look at every player in this squad now, that you'd value them very, very highly. We've got a team that's worth, so much money now, in the sense of how football has gone. But I love to see these young lads given a chance early. I was given a chance at 17, to make my debut for Wigan Athletic in the Milk Cup. It was a League Cup, obviously against Man City then, and I was just thrown into it, and yet, you're protected more these days, and but it's great, and it's just the enthusiasm, the kind of that you'll run for forever, as a youngster, and if you get the right balance right, which Leicester have, then you get the ultimate team. You've got the experience still there, you've got the pace, you've got that eagerness and that hunger and drive. So that's what is the consistency in a really top team. So like to see Chowdhury, Chilwell coming through, and Harvey coming back through. I think that did him good to go out on loan, and it's proved. He's been sensational.
Well, let's go back to 1999 and that run for Leicester City towards that League Cup that they would go on to win. And on the 15th of December, it was that 0-0 draw with Leeds, but got there on penalties eventually. And what was number one that day? Well, it was Cliff Richard and Millennium Prayer, so we thought we're not going to play that. So we're going to play this one instead and have a bit of a dance.
Must be a reason why I'm making examples of you. Must be the reason why
Just gone 6:30. You're listening to the Pre-Match Pint on LCFC Radio ahead of Everton against Leicester, and we can cross live to Goodison Park and join our Matchday live team of Dan Bates and Jerry Taggart. Evening, gents.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are we?
A bit hoarse.
A little bit hoarse.
Jerry.
Obviously, fresh back from Miami, and
I got a bit of Miami flu.
Just a bit. Oh,
You'll be
Tags.
all right, son. You just sound like me, Tags. And there's no point me filling in for you.
No, absolutely not.
Well, we'll rest it as much as we can before, obviously, the show starts in 10 minutes' time. But just a quick summary of what you're expecting tonight, Jerry.
Well, I think the most important thing about tonight is a bit of bounce back from Saturday's game. I think the performance is number one key on the list for Brendan. There's nothing you can do about, you're away in a cup game. It's going to be a difficult tie, a resurgent Everton. So I think Brendan's number one priority tonight is the performance.
And Dan, obviously, after that game, it was weird because we've not experienced a negative result for so long, and it wasn't even that negative.
No, exactly, and I think most Leicester fans know that, don't they? They'll be coming here with as much confidence as they would have done had they beaten Norwich. That's exactly what Dennis Pratt has said in the week as well. We'll hear from him during Matchday Live. He says that, that draw with Norwich, it won't affect things, it won't affect momentum or confidence coming into this game here.
And what can we expect from Matchday Live?
Yeah, as well as hearing from Dennis Pratt, we'll of course hear from Brendan Rodgers, the interim manager at the moment here at Goodison Park, Duncan Ferguson, as well as taking a look back at how Leicester got to this stage of the competition.
Lovely. Dan Bates and Jerry Taggart in position at Goodison Park. They're with you from 6:45, and they'll have the first bit of team news for you as well. Matt, you dodged a bullet going to Everton on a cold night, and as you said, you would have sounded just like Jerry.
I haven't dodged the bullet at all. I'd have been more than happy to go and watch the lads crack on in the quarter-final. But I'm equally happy to be here as well in the warm of the studio, awaiting the order of fish and chips that Walsh is just about to get rid of.
Yeah, I've got to go and collect them apparently. But we were yesterday, Matt. We were in prison, weren't we?
Yes,
literally. We were at HMP Stockton, was it?
Stockton over.
Yeah, doing our community bit. So
because they're running coaching courses, right?
Tomorrow morning. Is it tomorrow morning? 6 o'clock. We're in
I've
town
got some
in the
news for you
morning
about that. Well, yeah.
And we're feeding the homeless, breakfast. So
yeah. The news I've got for you is my shift's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
You're a joke. I'm at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Pipes at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
in the dark.
Could you not wait until we were off air to tell him that? He's going to be in a mood now. In terms of tonight's game, final thoughts before we hand over to the lads in Liverpool. Where's tonight won and lost then, Richard?
I think it all depends on what sort of Everton turn up. I'm confident in how Leicester are going to approach the game. It's just how fired up Everton are going to be, how much they want to impress, and how they go about the game. I'm fully confident that Leicester will come with a strong side and do the business tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've found over this season so far, Leicester have just found ways of winning. Saturday, they didn't get that. But will that affect them at all, Matt?
No, I don't think so. I'd like to think not. I think they've got more resolve than that. It didn't quite go to plan at the weekend. There were reasons for that. Norwich were excellent in the context of things. But if you were neutral and didn't know, the situation in terms of league positioning, you'd look at that game and Leicester were the better team overall. Norwich put up a good show, don't get me wrong. But I feel similarly to Rich. If Leicester would be go and play in a certain way, how good are Everton going to be on the night? They will be fired up, of course. I think imperative early on. If Leicester can see it through early on, calm things down, game settles into some sort of rhythm. I think Leicester will ultimately have the upper hand if they get through that first passage.
Yeah, it's obviously they've had a bit of a bounce back, Everton, but it was no small bounce back. 3-1 win against Chelsea and then going up and getting a draw at Old Trafford as well. They're going to be buoyant.
Yeah, it's certainly a resurgent Everton at the moment, and their confidence will be high. But this is a cup game. No real pressure for Leicester players, especially the younger ones, and whoever he brings in and changes however he does his system, tactically. But it's an opportunity. I keep saying that, and it's you look at this game, you get through this tie, and you win. well, that opens the door then. But I don't like the fact of we've drawn against Norwich and everyone's you're so negative and doom and gloom. Come on, where are we in the league? We scored 29 with goal difference. We've got the best goal difference and we're breaking records all over the place. And yet we draw against Norwich, which was unexpected. But hang on, come on, let's put this into perspective. We're in a great position. Could be in the semi-final of a cup if we get this right tonight. So I'm pretty, positive, to be honest.
Yeah, earlier this afternoon you saw so many coaches lined up outside King Power Stadium, heading up to Everton, out in force the supporters tonight because they want that trip to Wembley.
Yeah, of course. There's no surprise that Leicester are taking a lot of fans up there. They're expectant, but why not? The Leicester are playing such fantastic stuff this season, like Walsh is saying, and expectant of goals, expectant of wins, and it's what they've been used to this season, certainly.
Keith's been in touch. Just quick one for you, Matt, just off subject. He's listening from Torquay and says he used to watch you at Torquay.
Torquay. That's a blast from the past, Matt.
I didn't look anything like that fellow on the programme you're on about. I had hair down my shoulders. Like Keith Birchin it was, back in the day. You don't remember Keith Birchin, do you?
No, not at all.
But,
I do.
What was the gentleman's name? Sorry, Keith?
Yeah.
Good evening, Keith.
Ian says we need to be on top form as the Toffees will also be looking for that win. Chris says, come on City. Tom says, come on Leicester. And Julie says, do your best, lads. We're so proud of you all. Right, final thoughts in terms of score predictions, please. And first goal scorer, starting with Walshy.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go Harvey Barnes. He'll score. And I'm going to go 2-1 win.
Matt?
Yeah.
Similarly, I'm going to go 2-1. Iheanacho.
I nearly went in.
To continue his good form in this cup. And Richard,
obvious,
for you?
I would have gone 2-1 myself. I'll go 3-1 in Iheanacho.
Like it.
We will see what happens. It's Everton against Leicester City. It's the quarter-finals of the League Cup, and we've got you covered right throughout the evening here on LCFC Radio. Matchday Live is on the way with Dan Bates and Jerry Taggart live from Goodison Park. They'll have all the build-up from the ground and then, of course, got full commentary from 7:45 as well. If you're watching on the social media feeds, they are about to be paused, but they'll start again at the beginning of Matchday Live. So we've got one more song to play you out. We've been going on this journey through the musical